All right. Welcome, everybody. Go ahead and come on in. Make yourself at home. Come on in. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Mark. Hi, Jeffrey. Juve, hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. I am super, super excited here. This is our first time ever doing a webinar for you guys in the UK and surrounding areas. And we do quite a few webinars for our audience in America. And every time I do one and send out a notice, we always get people saying, when are you going to do one for the UK? It's always like 3 or 4 in the morning for you guys when we're doing a webinar. So we're really excited about this. Come on in, make yourself at home. We're going to begin in just a moment here. And just so you know, the platform that we're using is Google Hangouts. And because of that, there's often a delay between real time, and the chat box is real time, and between what you guys see on the screen. And that's just the way that Google takes my video and encodes it and sends it out. So there may be anywhere from a 10-second to a 1-minute delay, and it does sort of depend on your connection speed as well, because Google is always trying to give you the best quality video for the kind of connection that you have. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Let a few more people shuffle in here. All right. Hopefully you guys can hear me well and you can see my screen, see the PowerPoint. I got a lot of fun stuff to share with you today, a lot of stuff that's going to open your eyes about the power of the subconscious mind, really, and how easy it is to connect with the subconscious minds of others and to communicate with not just a person's conscious mind, which is a tiny shred of their mind, but really with the whole person. And being able to influence is really, really about excellent communication. I think most of us learn how to communicate, before primary school and during primary school. We might refine our language a little bit during high school. But, really when it comes down to it, most adults do not spend any amount of time, any measure of effort on improving their ability to communicate. And this is something that, remember when I was in my early 20s, at the time I had just gotten off the streets and I was surprised by the fact that I was about to have a son at 20 years old. He was a pleasant surprise. And ultimately, I realized at that moment, I was working as a security guard. I was working a lot of low income jobs and kind of bouncing around. And I started to realize that, with a son on the way, that I had to get serious and I had to get a good, solid career going. And so one of the things that I did is I bought a program, which I believe was called Verbal Advantage at the time. And it was a program to increase my vocabulary, which is just one form of communication. But I remember even at the time that learning new vocabulary actually took me personally to another level. I was able to communicate with people better. I had more confidence when I went in for interviews for office jobs, which, I almost felt unqualified for at the time at 20 years old. I felt like I was better able to communicate with people and had a lot more confidence. And that was just the tip of the iceberg, right? That was just learning a little more vocabulary. What you guys are going to learn today is going to go way deeper than that. It's going to go way beyond that. And I think you're going to get a ton out of it. And my goal is to have this webinar be a lot of fun too. So hopefully you have some fun, learn a lot along the way, learn some little tidbits that you'll actually be able to implement in your life and put into practice. And have a lot of fun along the way. All right, I think we have enough people in the room now. I think everyone's shuffling in. It looks like we've got about 35 people in. We've got about 119 registered. So hopefully the rest of the people will start to shuffle in along the way. I see more. I see the number going up as I'm speaking. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's talk about the art of subconscious influence. Subconscious influence to me is one of the most fascinating topics. And as many of you know, I'm a trainer of neurolinguistic programming, which is often called NLP for short. And NLP is at its core, when it comes to communication, it's a study of the subconscious mind and how to communicate with it. And so the big question that a lot of people ask me though is they go, well, why would I want to learn this stuff? I mean, you know, some people are not even necessarily interested in some people are not necessarily even interested in influence and persuasion. Some people might just want to communicate better, but beyond anything else, one of the first reasons I think you should learn about subconscious influence, number one, is to recognize when it's being used on you. And trust me, it is being used on you. You are surrounded by subconscious influence. And there are people who are learning this. There are people who are paying, especially in the old days, paying a lot of money to learn this so that they could better influence and persuade you. And, you know, one of the biggest reasons why I think that everyone should learn at least a little about this is to recognize when that's happening. Now, I get a lot of people that say, well, if there's people using subconscious influence on me, isn't that bad or evil or scary? And my answer is no, not necessarily. I personally really like it when somebody goes to great lengths to communicate well with me, right? People ask me, Kayla and I all the time, my wife Kayla and I, they say, well, do you guys use this stuff on each other? And the answer is absolutely yes. You know, we care about each other, we love each other, so why wouldn't we want to use the best quality communication with each other? But the problem is that sometimes some of the people who are using this on you don't necessarily have your best interest at heart. They have their best interest at heart. They have their own agendas, let's say. So part of the beauty of recognizing when it's being used on you is that once you recognize it, you can become aware of that level of communication, and then you can check your gut or check your sources and find out, you know, if that person has your best interests at heart. So that's one of the first reasons to learn it. Number two, learn how to connect with people. Learn how to connect with anyone, anywhere. And this is a big one for me. You know, I grew up incredibly shy, and I had a lot of problems with shyness when I was younger. And, ultimately, learning this allowed me to connect with so many other people. I'm very fortunate these days that, let's see, seeing some people in the chat room saying maybe it sounds like they're not here. Okay, good. Ian says yes. Yep. So, I struggling with shyness. This was a big deal for me. Catherine says, can't hear or see me. Let's see. Hopefully you guys can hear and see me. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, it says the microphone is working. It says that I am sharing slides. hopefully, my mic is plugged in. All right, so I'm gonna keep presenting here. We'll see if this is maybe just a delay that's happening, and hopefully you guys will start to see the video and hear the audio. So seems like we've been presenting long enough that that delay should be covered, but we'll see. So big thing is learn how to connect with anyone, anywhere, and even complete and total strangers. And this is one of the things that we live in a world that's so digital these days that most people have 300 friends on Facebook, but how many people do we really connect with one-on-one, face-to-face? And really, when it comes down to it, that's I personally believe one of the keys to success is having the right kind of connections in your corner. I believe we're moving into an age where money is becoming less important, connections are becoming even more important. So that's a big deal. And next is this: learning how to weave words that move people. And this is one of the things these days. I hear so many people saying that they feel like they don't have a voice in their life. They feel like when they speak that their spouse or their children or their boss or their coworkers just don't hear them. They don't listen to them. And they feel like no matter what they say, they don't have a measure of influence over other people, that they can't seem to change other people's minds, or they can't seem to change other people's actions. And that's one of the biggest things for me is learning how to really learning how to move people. And by the way, influence will never control people, but you can learn to move people. Think of somebody like a Martin Luther King Jr., who was able to move millions of people to speak on something that most people were not speaking on. Even though people were passionate about it, people were not engaged in that kind of a thing when it came to, really getting equality here in America and around the world. And he was a leader in that regard. His words moved people. He would, and even if you look at our current president here in the United States, Barack Obama, Barack Obama, when he gave his speeches, was able to move people to tears, which is one of the reasons why I think he was voted, regardless of what his politics were. He was able to move people to tears. Let's see. Still not seeing it?